ですか？
Okay, how we doing? Can't hear myself. How's that? It's a bit better, but the music's still quite loud, isn't it? Let me fix that. Oh, there's really not a lot left in it. That's not too bad. Hello, hello. How are y'all doing? It is another day, and I'm streaming on a Monday night, which is different, I guess. And the levels are still wrong. We'll get them right eventually. I think that's too high, but I guess we'll see. We're hanging out, and I'm working on this project where I'm trying to learn how to make more better enemies. I'm trying to, it's essentially just a study on like enemy behavior, because it's not something that I've looked into in great detail. Whenever I make games, the enemies are really basic. They just shoot at the enemy. They don't really think about themselves, the way they move or anything like that. So I'm sort of experimenting with state machines. Obviously, I've used them a lot in my player movement, but never really that much with enemies. And at the end of the day, like, we can program how they should move and how they should behave, you know? So we're gonna see if we can explore that. I've got a flying enemy that I'm reasonably happy with. And so I think today we're gonna try to make a ground-based one, maybe experiment with different kinds of enemies. We're essentially like using the Metroidvania style, or like Metroid, particularly like Mega Man style kind of enemies to start. But like, honestly, it's going to depend on the game, right? But we're here. And so let's have a look at what we've got. And so you can see I got my little Mega Man like character here, and we can shoot, and they've got two enemies which are just Godot icons. You can't see the other one because the window is outside of the viewport. Okay, and so he just shows up, he'll shake around, and then he'll shoot, and then he'll move right after. So that's the entire enemy behavior pattern. We can't really take damage from it at the moment. We'll work on adding that in, but right now it's more about like building up the behavior. I think like you do need to know what it's like to actually try and deal with this attack, you know what I mean? Because right now it's inconsequential, so I don't know if this is like too easy, too hard, but realistically you just have to shoot it 3 times and it'll die. We already shot this one twice, so it's really just a matter of like shooting it twice. What they do right now is they are able to tell, even if they are close enough to shoot, they can tell that the bullets won't reach because they're behind an object. Not that these get stopped by objects, but it is something that I programmed into them. So that is those two guys. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to do. And the first one is I've got a lot of print-offs that I'm going to need to clear because we don't need those anymore. I think I was trying to work out why the bullets weren't affecting the player. They should really be affecting the player, but they weren't for some reason. And I don't know why. So we'll work on that. And then yeah, we'll see how we go. The player, I want to add a camera because right now the camera is fixed to the scene and it makes it kind of hard to add like more enemies because there's not much space. So I was just going to add a camera to the player. We don't really need to, I'm not going to worry too much about complexity. You know what I mean? Like we'll just have it follow the player pretty much 1-for-1, which is not exactly what you want, but it'll be okay for now. And already I can see it's different because it's easy for me to line up the shot because I'm at the center of the screen. All right, so we've got our camera. Is there like easing and stuff? I haven't used a 2D camera in ages. Position smoothing, rotation smoothing. So we can go 5 pixel position smoothing. It's a bit better. It's not so like. Yeah, okay, that feels pretty good. You know, we're just chilling. Pretty easy enemies, not too difficult. Where are these printouts coming from? That is my question at the moment. Alright. I don't know if I set up my stream properly. I've been experimenting with content classification to try and reduce the number of ads on Twitch, but I actually think it was hurting the view count. So I've stopped doing that now. So you may see ads. I wish I didn't have to make you watch ads. If you have a YouTube Premium subscription, I'm streaming over on YouTube too. Actually I shouldn't say that, it's bad. Twitch, you didn't hear nothing, guys. Don't report me, please. Okay. I want to clear these printouts because they're annoying me. I'm pretty sure they're coming from the bullet. Or the damage detection. Must be from the damage detection. No? Health container? Wait, we've got tile map. Why would it? It's only going to print out tile map. I'm pretty sure I was trying to figure out and make sure. Damn. Nothing here either. Motion? Maybe it's to do with the enemy raycasting to see if it can actually see the enemy. See the player. That would be under attack. Maybe. No. Weird. Where is this coming from? You can search, right? You can search cross scripts. Find in files. Print. Bracket. Print LOS object. Check in range. Yeah, okay. It was a range check. I was right. Ugh, lots of warnings. Okay, so that clears the printout. Now we've got the camera. I guess we have to start looking at creating an enemy that sits on the ground, which I think will be a little bit more difficult. So if we look at the world, the way that we're working out where to go is we've got this navigation region. I'm debating whether or not I even need that, because realistically we could like, do we need like that much detail in our navigation? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't remember how I did this. Oh, you just like draw a square. And we can just expand this over like a larger area and it'll just redraw. Okay, easy. I know I might need to learn more about 2D navigation because I'm just going to make this really big and try to forget about it. I feel like that's the best way. Maybe that's just me. I'll turn it off. I wonder if that other tile map sits underneath it. Oh, okay. So I just wanted to extend the base, extend this area so that there's more places for us to sort of stand and walk so that we can interact with more things, I guess. We can chuck a couple of enemies down here, give ourselves a way out, you know. basically create a couple of arenas for us to work in. Essentially. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Have a couple of spaces that we can just like work in as we try to figure this out. I'm not the best level designer. It's kind of where all my projects fall apart. So you can't fault me for this very basic looking level. I'm assuming we can get over there. No contact damage right now. Yep. Easy. Okay. We can make it, and we can get some ground enemies here to fight. Easy. I switched back to Chrome for the add-on. It's been kind of annoying. Cool. All right. Okay, so I don't really want to use the Godot icon because it's like kind of annoying to look at. So I'm gonna draw a square. Just like make it 32 by 32 is fine. That here. Right. 23 pixel. Let's make that 1. I guess it's red because it's an enemy. Let's just like lock out a character. Like it's a big square. It's nothing serious. It looks like this. Is that too wide? I think we're gonna make this 4. Sort of looks like a dude. You know, what's a razor? E. I need to get better at the hotkeys. Okay, so this is our bad guy. Our ground-based enemy. That's the key I want. And I'm gonna add like a quick little layer, like an animation for the attack. Just make it like 4 frames. Or hang on, how fast are we gonna make it? How many frames do we want? So I'm generally doing like 4 frames per second, so it's pretty slow. You know, it's pretty chill frames. But like, if I think about like a good attack in a Metroidvania normally has some wind up to give you like knowledge that it's coming. So like if we do like 4 frames, that's a whole second. That's pretty long. So maybe we do like 3 frames of wind up, 2 frames of attack, and then 2 frames to like reset, essentially. Not that it's going to be very serious. I'm literally going to make it like just another color. What color should it be? Make it purple? Doesn't really matter. Let's make it blue. So I guess it's like we're going to have it here. We're going to have it here. We'll have to like flip the sprite based on direction. So it goes 1, 1, and then we'll have it just go like that. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is when the strike comes forward. So we'll bring it forward. We'll create another layer for the like smear. We'll do a smear. We'll make it specky. Put it below. Do this. I'm not the best animator. We're gonna do 3 frames of attack. I said 2, didn't I? So it should be like fully forward. And then in the smear, we'll go back 1. my very, very nice attack, and then you can get back. Wrong layer. It's like a sword or something, I don't know. What does this look like? Not bad. Is it too close to the body? Does it need to be wider? These are also like waist logs. I said 4 frames per second. Frame properties. Duration in milliseconds. I think that's 250. Too slow. I will work it out in Godot. That's not really the problem. I think the problem is the size of the sword. Let's make the canvas size wider. What does it go? 32, 48? Is it the next one up? I don't know. Well, that's height. We don't want that. Well, I suppose we do want it to go in height. It's like +8. Let's just go 40 on the side. Just add a couple of pixels so that we have some space to work with. This can be a little bit longer. Go it all the way out to the corner. Wrong layer. Yeah, no. The smear. Simple wind up. I still think it's too slow. Like these ones here should be faster, right? Frame properties. Make these go like 100. Something like that. Very basic. We'll roll with that for now. We also need a... how are we gonna do this? We want to do... just delete one of those. So that we have like our idle. Very basic stuff at the moment. We're just keeping it nice and basic. Resources. Sprites. Basic enemy. Okay, that's fine to me. I'll choose foil. Yeah, I don't see any reason why I can't hold this in here. Cool, and then we're back to Godot. And we can take a copy of the dummy enemy, although it's renamed, so I've called it enemy, so we can save scene as. And we're probably going to need to create a folder and just call it enemies. And this one will be the ground enemy. Hello, DongGB19. Welcome to the chat. How you doing today? Ground enemy. Okay, so now we've got a ground enemy. And it's pretty much exactly the same. There's not really like... I mean, I suppose the detection area theoretically doesn't need to be above. Like, I don't know. There's argument for behavior to say like, you only want it to detect when it's like facing the player. So we might need to look at like how we decide that. You know what I mean? Like maybe it can be within this sphere, but it's not an immediate like attack on sight. It's more like a, wait, we can do a dot product potentially. It's kind of hard with 2D. Or we can just like have a ray cast coming out from whatever we decide is the front face. However we decide that. Anyway, let's add the sprite because this texture this Godot texture is a texture that you can use sometimes. So we've got a basic enemy. Drop that in there, much smaller. I didn't realize it was that tiny. Wait, what the hell? I thought my player is like 32 pixels tall, right? Am I crazy? How does he compare to this dude? We got like a bunch of sprites, but like if I add that in here, I can just drag and drop, right? Oh yeah, he's taller. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Did I have them scaled down or something? Yes, there is a scale on this. That's your answer. Okay, and how many, what is this, like 6? It's a very basic. We got 1, then 3, 7. Okay, so it's 7 wide. There's animation. Horizontal frame 7 on 1 frame. Okay, collision shape is a circle, but we want to change it to a rectangle. And then we'll just put it inside this. I don't even know if that does anything. Oh, it will with this character because it's ground based. It doesn't really matter for the flying ones because they're flying. I guess they couldn't fly through walls. Not that they would anyway, since they're using pathfinding, but. And which one is this? Is this a damage area? Okay. I can't see why that shouldn't be just the same shape. You know? We can make it bigger. I'm not opposed to that. Can't select it. This is the one thing I don't like about 2D. Like, let me grab the thing that I have selected. Is there a way to do that? Select mode, Q physical? No. B, select nodes, pivot, alt, right mouse button, show a list of nodes position. Clicked. Control drag, rotate, alt drag, move. Control alt drag, select selected node. Scale selected node. V selected. Is it like G for move selected node? I'm at a loss. Unironically. Okay, that did work. He's not centered, is that something to be concerned about? Was he not centered when I drew him? Actually, don't know. He's right. Is he not in the center? I can't tell because I'm an idiot. View, grid settings. Let's just make it 20 by 20 because that would show him in the center. He is in the center of this. Okay. Is this positioned in a way? Yo, what the hell? He's wider. It's 8 frames, not 7, I guess. I guess that's news to me. Okay, we gotta start again. can't see shit. People do this. Make it the same. I can't see why it shouldn't be different. I still don't understand why you can't have like a single collision shape for all the different things. Like if I have a character body with a damage area, why can't I use the same collision shape for both of them? I think that would be really good. Maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. Like just make the damage area the same. Maybe I should make the character body damage area instead. Then I wouldn't be able to have it affected by gravity, even though this one isn't currently affected by gravity. Maybe there's a different approach to that I can use. I don't know. Like to me, it's like I have the character body as the root, and you know that matters because we need to calculate velocity somehow, and character body is the best way to do that. It doesn't have to be a character body, but it provides the easiest way, right? Like you just have a move and slide. You can hardly read this because I got everything moved out of the way, because you get move and slide for free. So like it's the easiest way to make an enemy move. But then I have a damage area and I need to have another collision shape, because you have to have a collision shape for each thing. And then you have a detection area. I mean, that's different, I guess, because that actually needs to be bigger. Like that's that red thing that you're seeing here, which is gigantic. Make it smaller, I don't know. I actually think it should be a square for this guy. Like this, oh wait, there's a circle. Make it rectangle and then make it really wide, like either side, you know? Like this, so that he can detect from side to side, but he doesn't detect the buffer below. So he can't see below himself. Something like that. Is this changing for all of these guys? Where's my air enemy? Sometimes you forget to make it unique and it'll get weird. I think they fixed that in Godot 4.5, but I remember this is something that I'm having like... Okay, no, it didn't change anything. I'm having PTSD. So it used to do that. It doesn't anymore. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got the enemy. We need to add an animation for the attack. So there's an attack animation, which is, it sort of just shakes around and then does this attack function call. The function call will need to change, right? So like how I'm doing this is essentially, we're gonna have an animation. This is like a 2-second one. I don't have really an issue with that same length, but what we'll do is we'll go to the sprite, and we'll have the starting animation be the frame 0, right? Frame 0, key that in. And yes, we do want a reset track for that. And then let's have some snapping here, please. What the hell? He's shaking. I'll probably get rid of that. I don't like that necessarily for this guy, but we can go to the next frame and we can key that in. Right. How quickly do we want this? Like a 1-second wind up? How many are there? I don't even remember now. It's just... That is definitely not good. It's 2-frame wind up or is it a 3-frame wind up? It's a 3-frame wind up. One second. So we go like this, and then bam, the attack happens. And these ones will be closer together. Have this one start at 1. At 1.1, we'll go to the next one. I don't know why it's not counting up for me. Oh, it is. And then we'll go back to the rest position. It'll look like this. Probably still too slow, eh? I like how he shakes. I think he probably doesn't need to shake. Maybe he needs to move side to side. Like this position stuff's kind of like it works for the flying enemy, but not for this. Oh my god, I'm so paranoid that I'm like erasing the animations for the for the other enemy. Because I duplicated the scene. Doesn't work like that. Okay. Oh my god. Why do I think it's going to do that? Is that something that it used to be common? I haven't worked in 2D in such a long time, and when you're working in 3D, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but you tend to import a lot of your animations. So you don't really have to like make them in the engine. Like rather than like with 2D, you import the frames and then you key the frames. And so like you're kind of making the animation in the moment. I don't know. Is that just me? Dude, I gotta turn off this collision. These colliders are making it hard to see what's going on. Dun, dun. Let's turn down the snapping. Make it 0.5. Bring these closer together. How does that look? Something like that. Also, that first frame really should be this. Okay, that works. And then the last frame should be the original frame. That way we don't have to worry about like having a second animation. Easy. Make sure that it's actually going to happen. Now, I don't really know, like there are physical enemies like in Metroidvanias where you can shoot, like they attack you physically, like they get in your face. But like, I don't know, actually, it's an interesting concept. I need to like go and review some more modern, like maybe I need to go play Metroid Dread, just see how the enemies behave in that, because like in my mind, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Silksong and Hollow Knight, which is melee based. And so like, it's not a good measure. Like if you're going to do like projectile based Metroidvania, does it make sense for an enemy to physically attack you? I think for some of them, yes. They do need a way to get into your face. Like they're not going to pose a threat if you can just gun it down before it even gets to you. You know what I mean? So this guy needs to be choppy. He's going to need to get in your face quickly, I think. Right? At least that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong on that. Dunno. I guess we'll find out. That's the whole point of this, is to test it out and see. Oh, I wanted to also like do something with the animation. Do something with the positioning. Should I do it with the sprite? Yeah, I guess I'll do it with the sprite. It's fine, right? Depends how far you move it compared to the collision shape. I don't want to move it too far out of its collision shape because then it'll be... I suppose it doesn't matter, like I said, because we're... Do we have contact damage? Have it hold that position until it's doing this. Get closer. Bring it forward. We're also going to need to have like a contact. We don't have that yet. So that's something that we're going to need. And then we can have it just move straight back. So just insert key. And have that go back to 0, 0. See how that looks. Okay, a little bit too robotic. I don't know about that. It's fine. It's really not that serious. It's just a test. So like it doesn't need to be that good. Always do this stuff, eh? Right. So now that we've got the attack animation and we've got everything, we need to look at the way that we are directing this guy, because right now he can 100% fly. He's not affected by gravity. So we need to create, we've got an enemy motion script, which I kind of want to use for both flying, ground enemies. It's basically just going to be a set of functions that we can use. We don't necessarily need to, you know, call them all the time. So we can have gravity in here, but we just need to be mindful of the way that we're calculating velocity and how that interacts with the pathfinding. Because right now we're just on velocity computed, and that receives a number and it gets set as the velocity. So I think even if I was overriding that, I think like I need to be calculating gravity in this function here. Which makes it difficult if it's going to be like, oh, something that we do. We just make sure that it's calculated after the function call for the move. I don't really know. I've never used, like I've used pathfinding, but I don't know if I've ever used gravity and pathfinding together. Yeah, it's interesting, actually. We're about to find out. Let's just steal the gravity function from the player. From the motion script. If on floor, if not on floor. That's fine. Let's put it at the bottom. Update gravity takes delta and it takes gravity. And it's saying if not character, although I'm just using owner right now. I need to update the script so that I don't continuously use owner because it's a bit sus. It's a bit of a sus function call. If it's not on floor, then we're going to do gravity. And then we emit the velocity change. Actually, you know what? I think this will work because the way that we're directing a character is, it's sort of like, I don't know how to put it. We're calculating with the navigation, but then we're just emitting that as a signal to the main character body to move. So like, I think it's okay. I think, keyword. So we need a new script because this is the chase script. This is the one that I would probably want to copy all of this and then clear that and then add it. And so we've got scripts, enemy, state machine, states. We've got chase. We're gonna have to call this one ground chase or something. And it inherits enemy motion. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna paste that in. Okay, so the basics of this is really, it's not that complicated. You know what I mean? We have a target position and we have how often we update the position of that target. And then we've got a distance, right? This is target update. Oh yeah, okay. So this is just our countdown, right? Instead of using a timer. So what we're doing is we're checking the position, or we're checking to see if we can check the position. And then if the target position is not equal to vector 2, we move towards it. Otherwise we're done. Then we check if we're in range, and if we're in range, then we go to idle. That's it. Really simple. Simple script. Not a lot going on here. So realistically, so if I just add the gravity to this, like we got move, this is what we're calling move, right? So if I just call that here too, update gravity, and it wants the delta. Underscore delta. Okay. I mean, realistically, is this guy gonna fall or like in the idle state as well? That gravity. Stop. All it does is let the vector 2 to 0. They might compete against each other. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna work that well. Let's add one of these guys in, see what he does. Enemy, ground enemy. I guess I want to put him where I can see him. Go there. Is that above the camera? He'll fall though. Or he won't. No, he's not affected by gravity. He's not exiting his attack state. Hang on. Attack completed at the end of the animation. That's what we need. A method called method track on the attack at the end of this. Also insert key. Attack completed. Okay, so we should be able to trigger that. Kill this guy. Yeah, he flies. He still flies. He's not affected by gravity at all. That is not what we want. Because I'm overriding it with the navigation, right? So realistically, we might need to split the script. We need to have like an in-air and a ground. We have to have two separate ones. Something like that. I kind of wanted to avoid that, but I guess it is what it is. Because like I can't split this up without having separate functions. You know what I mean? Or maybe I'm... Like if I look at what this does, it just calculates the path and then sets the motion towards it. So on velocity computed, you could calculate the X but not the Y, but like that's not going to work for a flying enemy. Flying enemy doesn't care about the gravity, right? It doesn't want gravity. And if you only calculate X, it's never going to get down to like an appropriate level if it's too high up or whatever. If it needs to come closer. So I would say we definitely need to split these up. So we need to have like motion. There might be like a base version of this that we can have. So we can have enemy motion and then we can have on ground in air, depending. And then we can have like, we can override these functions depending on what we need, right? Because I would just override velocity at this point. Or like I would just set X. Velocity.x equals safe velocity.x. Like I just don't take the Y. And in fact, like with an on-ground enemy in a Metroidvania, like a 2D one like this, you don't really even need pathfinding. You just say like go, like raycast, it sees the enemy, run towards that direction. You know, it doesn't really need to, doesn't need that much more information. So that's the other thing as well, like we could ditch pathfinding because it's not that complicated right now. So like that's the other thing I think might be worth doing. Like rather than splitting it, just like add a function for like chase direction. I don't know how you call it. rather than move. So you create a function called X only move, ground move. Let's create a new script and inherit this state motion, enemy motion, I should say. New script, inherits enemy motion. And then we'll override move, and then everything should work. Script, enemy state machine, so we've got this, pursuit, enemy motion. We'll call this ground enemy motion. Something like that. And yep, that should be fine. Extends enemy motion, we'll give it a class name. We'll call this ground enemy motion. Okay, and essentially from this, we really want to update the function for move. This is the player motion. We really just need this move function, and the stop function probably need to be overwritten. Everything else is the same, right? We could also leverage the ray casting, so let's just take these functions. Ground enemy motion. So either way we need to call on velocity computed, but like everything else can be removed, essentially. Bar new velocity, I guess. So vector 2, and it's equal to vector 2.0. And then that's indented, so we won't do that. Stop. Well, this is actually really easy because we can just say like velocity.x equals move towards. Oh, Jesus. The autocomplete is hiding what I wanted to do. So we go from velocity.x to 0. And I don't know. Is there a weight? Like, I don't even know if I have an acceleration. Let's just put a number here for a second. See how that goes. Might be a bit slidey. I don't know. And we don't even care about navigation. Like, we just call on velocity computed. Like, we're just not going to use navigation there. Okay. So new velocity. So the move, how we are going to do this is in enemy motion, there is a check in range. We don't actually get this. So basically check in range, what that does is it does a raycast to the target, which is the player. And it says either yes, you're in range, or no. So it's a true or false. Where if you are targeting the player, essentially, like, is there a block in the way or a tile in the way, then you can go ahead and move towards attack. But within this, we are getting owner.check line of sight. This is actually the player. So this is the target. I guess we don't really need to do a raycast. If we know the target, then we can just figure out what direction it is based on, you can just do distance to. See, target.global position.distance to owner.global position. And that'll just tell you can also get direction to. That's the other function that we can use. So we can use direction to, figure out the direction that we need to go, and then multiply that by some kind of speed so we can chase it down. And then the other thing we really need to do is, and we don't have this for the flying enemy either, is like a wandering pattern if we want that. You know what I mean? So we'll do a new function. I don't think we're going to use this function, but it's given me some ideas. Something like this. Or also, like, if there's no target, then I guess don't do anything, but We're not going to be moving towards the target unless we have a target. So let's do that. So we can say if target, we'll do the safety anyway. This distance to object, let's just go direction to target. To target, that's a pretty long variable name. Target dot global position dot direction to dot global position. That's a vector too. Okay, and then realistically, that's our direction. Distance direction to target. I love that. That variable name's awesome. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So let's go below this. New velocity. So we've got the direction. We just need the speed. Do we have a speed variable? We have a movement speed of 100. We can just use that. This needs to be turned into some sort of like data sheet. I need to turn this into data so that I can actually like change it depending on the enemy. But like right now it's very basic, so because we're just getting started. So we can just say velocity, new velocity equals, actually I don't even know if it needs to be new velocity. Oh yeah, it does, because how about this? Let me think for a second. I don't think that's how we do player movement. Player movement is very much like velocity.x equals move towards. Like I'm gonna copy this, you know what I mean? Only I don't have acceleration and I don't have direction. Well, I'm calculating the direction. So I don't know. I don't think I need to. I can just calculate it directly and then emit. Yeah, I think I'll do that, ground enemy. So rather than going on velocity computed, we can just emit the signal. So let's ditch this. And then let's just go velocity dot x equals move towards velocity dot x to velocity dot x multiplied by direction to target direction. Oh, we're not within the we don't have access to that. Actually, what we can do is we can set this up here. We can just say that it's vector 2.0. That way it's a little bit safer. And we've got velocity x to direction to target. Why is this not? There is already a variable to, oh yeah, my bad. Okay, because I changed that. God damn, Godot, come on, get with the program. Happy? Too few arguments. Yeah, I know, I was trying to fill it out. God damn. Delta? This should probably take a delta, but it doesn't, so I'm just gonna have it take 0.1 for now. It might be really slow. Invalid argument for move towards. Argument 2 should be a float, but it is a vector 2. Okay. Okay, so when I do it in motion, we've got move towards velocity x, direction dot x times speed. Okay, so I'm doing that wrong. I'm doing... Right, so we're going to do times speed. So rather than velocity x times direction to target, so we go movement speed multiplied by direction to target dot x at a rate of 0.1, which is just an arbitrary number that we made up, and then we can go update velocity, velocity updated, velocity changed dot emit velocity. Okay, and then stop, exact same thing. And then if we go to chase, we're gonna have we have this extend from ground enemy motion, and then same with the idle, right? And that should give it gravity. and I think. So enemy motion, update gravity, if not owner is on floor, velocity plus equals gravity multiplied by delta, right? Otherwise y equals 0. Unless this detects it's on floor. But it shouldn't. Right, let's run. Is it gonna crash? He's not being affected by gravity though. Okay, that guy is just gone. I wonder if I screwed that up. Okay, he is 100% not affected by gravity. And these guys are all messed up now too. They're coming directly towards me. That's not the behavior that we want. That's more along the lines. Like those first two movements were really weird. These guys really shouldn't have changed their behavior. Like that's weird. Like its movement like that when it decides to chase. It like way overshoots the mark. Why does it do that? And now it's stuck. Although I think that's just sort of like... So I've done something inadvertently. So the chase is all messed up. What's going on? Ground enemy? Dummy enemy? Move to target position. You still inherit from enemy motion. What do I do? Huh. I haven't actually like created a repository for this yet. I should probably consider doing that. When you make a change like this, you don't actually keep track of what the frick you actually changed. Range check. To me it seems like the range check is not triggering, or when it is, it's going back to idle, but idle is not triggering. Oh, because we're updating gravity. Okay, so like I fucked up. This is wrong. This is all wrong. Yeah, okay, I know what I did. Okay, delete that. It'll be enemy motion. So what I forgot to do was replace the script on the, so that's fine. They should behave as normal now. Yeah. This is meant to stop as soon as it gets close to the player. So like right now, there's no reason for it to move, but when it chases, even though the path is directly to the player, once it gets close enough, it stops following that path, which is why it sort of slides a little bit. Okay. I understand what is happening. Now, let's see if we can go back to the dummy enemy, remove this script, add one. This is going to inherit ground enemy motion, right? And we've got the idle enemies. No, we want to save it under scripts, enemy, state machine, states. We're probably going to need to like have separate folders for these because it's going to get messy, but we'll go ground idle. Okay. And we'll open that up and we'll create that. And we're just going to copy the dummy enemy. What? Oh my God. I deleted the wrong script. This really is, this gets me every time. I don't pay attention to like what one I'm working in because they look all the same. So this should be, back to scripts, enemy states. This is idle, just regular idle, enemy idle. Okay, so when we click that, it's going to go to that. And then in the ground enemy, we can remove this script here and put the ground idle here. Before I do that, just copy this. And here, we can extend ground to enemy motion. Okay, and then stop will just stop X. And then we also want to be updating gravity. And we pass in delta. Okay. Honestly, Well, it didn't work last time, so I don't expect it to work this time either. You know what I mean? It can't move. Okay. So let's have a look at the idle first. So we're calling stop and then update gravity. Let's have a look at update gravity. Are we actually even manipulating the velocity? We're gonna get a lot of printouts from that. $16. 16. Okay. Well, what's going on? Are we overriding that somewhere? Idle? What does stop do in this context? Velocity x moved towards velocity x 0 at a rate of 10. Velocity change to emit. Direction to target. We're not even calling that. We're in the idle state. Get player target position. What are we coding, if we don't mind me asking? We are sort of, we're working on an enemy, so I've got a little Metroidvania type kind of game. Here, I'll run it for you if you've only just been watching. So we've got our, not Mega Man, I'm calling this guy. This is not Mega Man. And we can shoot, you know, and we've got these enemies here, which are just Godot icons at the moment. And they sort of just throw out 3 bullets towards you at any given time, and they'll sort of come towards you and then move around between firing the bullets. So that's sort of where we're at. We can kill those. Now, I've been trying to work on ground-based enemies, which is this guy here, just the red dude. It's obviously a placeholder, but he's meant to be on the ground. So, in other words, I'm wanting to try and get gravity to affect him. Now, I'm trying to modify the script that I had for the flying enemies, and for some reason, gravity is not affecting him. I'm sure I can figure out why. It's always when I decide to stream that things don't work the way that I expect them to. We can do it. Should be pretty straightforward. But, so yeah, so in the idle script, we're updating the gravity. And the gravity is saying, in fact, we calculated the gravity does have an amount, and we're emitting velocity. So, like, I don't know why it wouldn't really be working. In no part of the script am I ever turning off physics. So, in theory, it should work. Coding is always painful. Yeah, and I always keep things really basic when I do it. So, like, I sort of just like, if I'm making a game, like I don't really make commercial games, right? So it's mostly just like every so often, a couple times a year, mostly, I'm doing like game jams. So, you know, I sort of keep my enemies really basic, if I even include enemies, you know, like you just design around that. So I want to learn how to make stuff that's a little bit more interesting. I think the flying enemy is a pretty good start. I don't know how to use this engine. No, it's all good. We're just here to vibe, not vibe code. We're just here to vibe. So I actually don't understand, to be honest, but this is what happens. I see this a lot with Godot, and it's probably a skill issue on my part. What happens is I take code, I don't want to do that actually. It should have an underscore. And then I use it and I try to modify it in a way that should work, but because it's being like chopped up and trying to be repurposed in a way that's not very well thought out, if I had to criticize myself, then you end up with sort of stuff that doesn't work the way they expect. That's most of the time. Like, I don't really encounter that many bugs except when I'm trying to do stuff like this. Like, rather than start from scratch, take what I've already got and push it onto something that is a little bit different. And then you end up with bugs and you have to debug it until you get it working. And it may have been quicker just to start from scratch, you know? But we're here now, so like, what else would there be? If it's in the idle state and we're calling state update and we're updating gravity and we're calling stop, there is nothing else to be called. Nothing else should be manipulating the position of this character. And we are once again, we've got the wrong name here, which is really annoying me. That's confusing as heck. This should be ground enemy. Where are my enemies? I'm in the world. Dummy enemy, air enemy. So funny. Delete that. Air enemy. It needs to be a ground enemy. State machine. Scenes. Ground enemy. Just put him here so he falls straight into this. Now it says ground enemy. That doesn't really change anything. Chase idle. And for some reason he thinks he can attack. He's just behaving like an enemy in the air because, well, he has the same script. So, but even, am I crazy? What's going on? Ground idle. Extends ground enemy motion. Chase. Let's have a look at chase. I'm not happy with that. Also the range check for the ground enemy. Let's so that's the thing, right? Like this is very annoying. The range should be much shorter. Like the range should be 10, 20 pixels, not 150. This needs to be turned into data. I really don't want to do that. It's so boring. Why can't it just work? You know? No, I don't want to turn it into data right now. I want it to work and then think about the data later, but I guess that's just how it is. Where do I store that for the player? Was it just the player? We got the scripts, player state machine, mask marker, player state machine, and we've got data.trez. So we store it in the scripts folder, so I can do the same for the enemies here. Script. Inherits resource. And then we just call enemy data. Give it a class name. Enemy data. And then we just need to basically take all that stuff that we've got in ground enemy motion and in enemy motion I should say, and turn it into stuff that we can. Oh man, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. Should have done it at the beginning. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't cut corners. This is what happens. Oh god. Okay. These all need to be export variables. Otherwise it doesn't work. We've learned that the hard way in the past, haven't we? And then we're going to get a bunch of errors because we can't actually have these need to be node paths. Right. Okay. Now I think that's how I did it for the data, player state machine data. There, yeah, its animation tree is just a node path and the player is a node path. So for the enemy data, their target is a node path. Target is a node path? I suppose technically that makes sense. The target, actually, the target doesn't need to be included in this, but we will make the root enemy node. We'll just call it enemy. What do we call this? It's a character for the player. It makes more sense. Enemy. And this will just be the parent node, so we can actually call functions on it without feeling guilty. Okay. And then within the state machine, so we pass on the navigation agent gets just passed on when we add a state, right? State.navigation agent equals navigation agent. Okay, so maybe we don't need to include that as node path either. In fact, all three of those variables, to be honest, like now that I think about it, the enemy, the navigation agent, like the self could just be passed on, like ground enemy motion, enemy motion. We could just say var enemy character body 2D, and that when we actually create the state machine, we say state.navigation, we say state.enemy equals still technically going to be owner, which they say you get a slap on the wrist for using that keyword there, but we'll roll with it because honestly it's kind of hard to do anything else. So state machine dot state dot enemy equals owner, and then within all of these we can, well really it's just enemy motion, we can just replace owner with enemy. Damn, it's so hard to read. Do we do a find and replace? Do we feel crazy like that, or should we just do it like enemy? Okay. And then we can reference the data sheet within this. So we can just go here, enemies, in the scenes under enemies. Do we create a new folder for the data? Yeah, I guess enemy data. That works. Create new resource, and then we'll just call this air. Actually, just enemy data, and we'll call this air enemy. Obviously, a really basic kind of. We'll duplicate that before we do anything. Round enemy, and I guess this. Oh, we don't really need velocity in this. We just need movement speed and range for now. No, like the velocity is also something that is local to the script. So enemy data, we really just need the movement speed and the range right now. I'm sure it'll expand later, but like we'll start with those two. And yeah, enemy movement speed and 150 for the range, although I don't know about that. I need to check the attack and like, anyway, point is, I actually think this should be like potentially like only 10 pixels. You know, it needs to get really close to the ground enemy. Let's look at all the places where we're referencing range. It's just function calls for rand range. Okay, in the chase, what about in the chase? Range check, check in range, check in range, okay. Dude, we don't even use that. We did that. Get out of here with that. Whoop, wrong thing. Delete message. And get banned. Easy. Okay. Alright, so range check in range. That's just like an unused. That's unused, right? That's what the warning is. Range check has no static type. It's a boolean. And then I'm guessing, oh my god. Null? It's a null. Guys, I created a new type. Okay, and then it's still going to be on warning. The local variable is declared but never used because I mean, you don't really need to do that, but I guess since it's there, we'll do that. It's fine. Okay, but in terms of like range, it's just, is it only being used in the range check? I'm pretty sure we use it in the evade as well. But we're just checking range. Right, like that's 3 matches. Distance to object, check in range. Yeah, so that's the only time it's being referenced in the base script. And then I'm pretty sure in evade, we use it to determine how far we should move away or towards the character. So, yeah. We'll need a new script for this too. All right, so let's just add this. I think streaming and kind of talking idly is a good way to fix problems in my own games. I've been stumped on something for some reason. Talking to myself will help instantly fix it. Yeah, it is kind of a rubber ducky kind of solution. Like you can't be silent when you're on stream, so you need to be continuously talking. So you're just always talking through your problems. I will say though, like it is very, like you do become self-conscious when you like are coming up against a problem that's really dumb because you are like exposing yourself in that way. So you do have to like be willing to accept a level of vulnerability when it comes to like not understanding something, because it happens all the time with me. I remember one time I spent like hours, like literally the entire stream trying to work on a single problem. It was a really quiet stream. There weren't many people talking and I couldn't work it out. And it was one of those, it just felt really bad. And I can't even remember what the solution was, but I just remember like the next morning checking it out and going like, oh, I'm an idiot, you know? It's just one of those things. All right. Okay, let's add this. Ooh, that is an interesting problem. So we are going to need to add this to the state machine, and we'll do an export variable. And we'll just call it data. We can just call it data, right? Enemy data. All right, so we can just store it here. So this is the ground enemy. So we store the ground enemy data here, right? And this one's called dummy enemy. It's really an air enemy. I should rename it. And we'll give that one air enemy. And okay, so what we want to do is essentially just pass that on. So we'll create another variable within the enemy motion where it's going to actually be used. Right up the top here. And we can also call this data. Enemy data. And then we'll set that essentially as we loop through each state. State.data equals data. The cool thing about using this technique when it's the character is because there's only one stat sheet for the character. When we do like motion, so like this is the movement script for the player, I can just reference that file directly. I don't need to like pass it on. You know what I mean? Because this script is like a parent class. It's not in the scene of the player. It's just all these scripts derive from it. So you can't like drag and drop it into the scene like visually, but like you can reference it this way, which is really good. But for the enemies, we can't do that because it's going to need to be unique per enemy. So we're going to need a place to put this in the scene, which is up here. We'll do it there, and we'll pass it on like that. And that way they will still have it, They know what it is because we have like enemy motion data, right? And then I suppose if it does become a problem, like it's one of those things I always think about, like, oh, what if there is no data? And it's like, well, the game should crash and I should fix that, right? Do I need to create a fallback for that? Like, if I forget to add data, I kind of want the game to crash. But like, I know also in my head I can design around that. I don't know, like it's weird. What do you guys think? Okay, so everywhere that I'm looking at range, I want to go data.range. It's just there, right? And in the evade script as well. Okay. And then the only other thing is movement speed. There's all these other variables that we could consider turning into data. Like how often we update for the target. Stuff like that. Although they're exports, so you can change them on a per scene basis. So that's the other thing as well. Like we have to sort of like have exports like for how often we target check and stuff like that. That's not as consequential to the behavior. They're probably going to be pretty similar across most, I would say. Okay, so let's go to the round enemy motion. And we need to, oh yeah, it's movement speed. So it's data.movement speed. Right, so anytime we find movement speed, we need to override it with data.movement speed. Which is just going to be that, and in the, I believe it's just one of two places. Can't see. All right, I got a little nut off. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. I just changed. Oh, look, it doesn't fit within the thing. I created a new one, a new follow notification. Oh, my activity feed's not working. That came up too quickly. I need to work on that because that didn't look quite right. Dozy Burrito, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us. All right. Okay, so now I can delete these. Let's just comment them out to begin with, actually. Okay, so all things considered equal, with all those changes, it should work exactly the same way it did before. We should expect no differences. No crashing. Okay. He is attacking and evading. He's running away. He's coming closer. Seems to be working. And this guy is still not doing what you would expect him to do. Just kill him. Okay. Got like a eyelash in my eye. So we've sort of backed down to the start. We can delete those. I'm happy that they're not affecting it. Okay, so now we can go back to trying to answer the question is why gravity isn't affecting this at all. When you're in an idle state and you're updating gravity, and if not enemy is on floor, I'm assuming this is getting triggered. Like I have to assume this is being triggered. Run that. It is. You can see here we've got a printout saying that it's 16. The character's not moving though. Is it because it has a navigation agent? Would that affect this in any kind of way? I actually don't know. Like I've never really like Like, we don't need one, but we kind of do because it's part of the script. And so if it doesn't exist, I think what would happen is that it would crash because the state script is the same for both the enemy types. I kind of want it there, but I'm kind of curious to see, like, or actually, you know what? I think I just realized what the bug is because I copied that from the player script. That's something I didn't even think about. I copied from the player script. Is the signal the same? Velocity changed? It is. So on velocity computed, do we need to be calling that function? Because that's getting called as well. Safe velocity. Oh, yes. Because I'm calling stop, which calls this function. Hey, hang on a second. No, it doesn't. Velocity changed emit. We're emitting multiple different kinds of velocities. Is velocity a static variable? It's not. Because I'm emitting this in multiple places. I've never thought that would be a problem. It's a static variable, it doesn't matter. So if I delete that print in motion, is it because it is like a subscript? Hang on a second. Go to this idle for the ground enemy and then just print velocity. I've never nested this many scripts before. No, I mean the velocity is calculated correctly. Well, is 16 not much? 16 pixels per second? Is it just falling really slowly? I don't know if that's fast or slow.
I need some music.
What's that sound? Is that just the song that's playing? Sounds like Dozy Burrito. Hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay. Yo, I guess the other thing to check is like, is it going through to the physics? Like, is the physics, because this is the thing that matters. Like, I'm calculating it correctly within the, you know, within the state machine, but the state machine emits a signal to the character. So like, I don't know. The answer is they're all 0. Of course they are. So that is curious. So interesting. Do I need a label? I've got a label for the add a label so I can see the speed. Another debug. So the speed label. Dude, what a banger song. Let's just change the position. And this is just the speed that it's going to go in a vector 2. And what we can do is bring this up and then we can get access to it here. And on the print, so on the physics process, we can go speed label dot text is going to be equal to str, and then it's going to have array. Is it vector 2? How big is the scope for this game? I don't know yet. I'm really just starting it off as sort of like a tech demo to expand my knowledge. I would like to make a game, like a more commercial game, because I haven't really done that in like the 5 years that I've been doing game dev. I've just sort of been making tutorials. I spent a lot of time making tutorials. So, you know, like I kind of feel like I'm at that point now where I need to maybe shift my focus because like I could just be the guy that makes tutorials on YouTube forever, but that's not really like what I set out to do when I started to learn game dev, you know? It was to make a game, it wasn't to make videos. I do like making videos, but you know, it's not the end goal. Does that work? I don't actually know. I feel like it needs to be more complicated than that. Yeah, it does. Invalid assignment of property text with a value of type string on base object of null instance. What? Speed label is null for the dummy enemy because they've deviated. That should work now. Alright, okay, cool. It's a very long, very long string. So we can go snapped. Is it snapped? X variant? Step. So vector. Oh, not vector 2. Dude, the length you go to sometimes for like text readouts. Velocity.x. I do plus. Too few arguments for snapped called expected. Oh yeah, sorry. Snap. Same thing but for Y. Probably do like a space in between the two. With a comma. That's a bit better. Now we just need to fix it up for the dummy enemy. Let's just change the position. Transform. Position Y. Very early days. It's kind of interesting to see it like do the evade and sort of just like. Okay, so we know that the area ones, I have to say, like, I think there's a problem with the signal being emitted in the ground enemy because it doesn't move at all. Let me just do like a on velocity changed. Is it just not connected? What would prevent that from happening? Because we velocity computed oh damn, state velocity uncomputed. Wait, what? No, state velocity changed dot connect character dot on velocity change. Why is it a warning? The method connect is not present on the inferred type variant. That's all right. Okay, so, man, I still really don't know what's going on with this. I need more printouts because I still am debugging. I guess like, can I put like a thing in there? Is it always getting emitted, even with the other ones? I just don't want to have to step through too much stuff. Do like an easy one. Name. Comma, space, comma, velocity. Dummy enemy 2, ground enemy. Okay, so it's coming through, like you can see that there. Ground enemy, oh yeah, look at this. So you get the one for the fall and then you get 2 more calls with 0 on the Y. Why? Might want to ask. Very interesting. So I'm emitting that signal in multiple locations and the velocity is not the consistent between them all. And is it because it's an inherited script versus a non-inherited script? I actually think that might be the case. I'm starting to think that the reason for that is because in idle, we've inherited ground to enemy motion and we've got 2 here that are emitting velocity changed, right? So we have 3. I don't know how we're getting 3. Because we only have 2 calls. And in fact, we only have 1 call, actually. We have 1 call and then another call. It's just like the number of frames. Anyway, I am going to, I have a hard time thinking that's the case, but just for the sake of ruling that out, I am going to literally just copy that into the ground enemy motion function, into the ground enemy motion script. And theoretically, that didn't work. Okay. Am I still just doing 3? Something is overriding that, and I don't know what. So what's overriding the Y velocity? And at this point, I'm not calling anything like in the idle state. Stop, update gravity. Like realistically, if I just call update gravity, like theoretically, it just fall. Like, I really don't understand what else is being called. State update. We're in the idle state. Dude, I'm totally stumped. Actually. Well. On velocity, change velocity? Dude, what the heck? Oh. No, I was like, this is it here. We're only doing velocity.x. That's the label I literally just put in. We're updating velocity. Update gravity? In the idle for the ground enemy. And we get 2. Is that on a per frame? I have to assume it's per frame. I wouldn't know, would I? A breakpoint. And then the velocity is targeted. Oh, do I really want to put a breakpoint there? What I really want is to just duplicate this script because I don't want to have to debug all 3. So I'm going to create another one of these, which is not really what I want to do. Just good old debugging. Character body create. And we can just paste that in. And now I think I'm gonna do like a move and slide. I think my dog's outside. Hang on. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna get the dog back in. What is happening? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I heard the dog crying outside. She's been sick. So sometimes if we think she's about to vomit, we chuck her out real quick. Okay. Move and slide. Right, okay, so we were just about to try and debug the ground enemy move and slide because I don't know where that frame, like what's calling the second one that overrides the Y velocity, you know what I mean? So we can see movement speed, local variables. Should be able to see the variable for velocity. Navigation agent, movement speed 100. Oh, stuff we don't need anymore. Really delete some of that stuff. Okay. Where is it? Should be here somewhere. I need to put it on this. You press the continue button, F12. Velocity Y. And then the very next frame, it's set back to 0. Like what? Is there a way for me to find out what emitted the signal, I wonder? Like how can... I actually don't know. Is there anything in the warnings? Range is declared but never used. Range, yeah, I mean, yeah. Just boring stuff like cleanup code. Navigation agent. And then it's 16.33 again. Oh, the stack frame, I can go. So ground enemy, update gravity, ground enemy, state update, physics processor. Okay, yeah, so I can see the stack frames here on the left. So let's go here. Enemy motion, on velocity computed. App function, on velocity changed. So on velocity changed, on velocity computed. This is coming from the navigation agent, essentially. I didn't think they get emitted every frame. Right? So the difference is we've got the one that we're calculating and then the one that the navigation system is calculating, but I guess I didn't realize. Okay, well that answers my question. It is due to the navigation. So on velocity computed. What's calling this? Is it just coming from the navigation agent? Is it just getting... Hang on a second, I'm going to check the navigation agent 2D. Navigation. I thought this only... Navigation agent 2D. I thought that signal is only called when you're calculating a path. Methods, signals, link reached, navigation finished, path range, velocity computed. Notifies when the collision avoidance velocity is calculated. Emitted every update as long as avoidance enabled is true. Oh, well, there's your answer. Now we know. Okay, so that's really easy fix. We can keep the navigation agent, just untick avoidance. Because, I mean, there is an argument. I mean, there is an argument at some point. Maybe we can work it back in because, like, right now I'm just going to say, hey, go towards the player. But if there was multiples of them, maybe you don't want them stacked up Or maybe we don't care about that. I don't know. It just depends on the game you're making. Oh my god, that took way too long to figure out. Okay, well, we don't need that breakpoint. Reload. Okay, he's going the wrong way, but he is chasing us. Okay, well, let me just fix all these printouts. God damn. Obviously don't need that. We don't need the navigation agent in this character body. We've got 2 separate scripts at this point though. We need movement speed. I think we just need, we don't even need chase target. We just need target. What? Dude, I can't believe that took ages. Crazy. Is this like the Final Fantasy intro remix? Pretty nice, actually. Okay. So, 2 things. Chase is going the wrong way for like the ground enemy motion. This calculation here. Directions to target. This is around the wrong way. So, I guess, you know what, I feel more comfortable if we reverse this. So if instead we went enemy global position, direction to target dot global position. Right. And now he will approach. And then he will attack. Pretty much exactly what we wanted. Like, I mean, it was a long journey to get it to do that. He's a little bit too close as well. Like we can tweak that. But that is like literally what we want. We probably want, when it goes into the evade, we probably want them to like move back or something like that. Like you don't want him to be like continuously attacking. Let's run away, see what he does. He's stun locked. Okay. Imperfect, but like I think once we fix that problem, like it becomes fairly straightforward in terms of like, okay, we see what he's trying to do. We could just tweak that a little bit. So let's go back to the ground enemy. The state data. The range is probably a little bit too big. All right. And now, what was I saying before? Oh, the evade state. So right, after the attack, it will go into the evade state. And in the evade state right now, this is the same for both of them. So I need to create a new one for the... Essentially what we're doing is, well, the flying enemies, it's less consequential, right? So it doesn't really matter. Like they just go any direction. Like all I want them to do, shoot at the player, move. It doesn't really matter where you go. Don't get too close. Like I've got it going less. I'm basically using the range as like how far you should move. Range divided by 2. So anywhere in your immediate vicinity by the range, like half the range distance that you would need to be from the player. Most of the time it doesn't go out of range. We don't want that, but it does sometimes and it's okay. And then the Y, it's even less. Don't move so much on the Y axis. Move left to right because that's more of a difficulty thing, I think. Could be wrong. We can tweak those figures. It's okay. But yeah, we got to get a new script for the ground enemy. It can't be the same. But I'm going to copy and paste as I always do, and we just had an hour of debugging because I did that, but here we go again. Ground enemy, delete this script, new script. Ground evade? I don't know. We don't need a new script for every enemy? Or are we just going to have like archetypes? I actually don't know. I don't really like to have like a script for each one, but at the same time, if you need unique movement patterns, then like, I don't know, like I can't really see like a way that you would do anything else than have like a script for each enemy. Or at least maybe you could make like a big script with like a bunch of different patterns and you can just like tick a box. Like, oh, I want them to chase very aggressively. Or I want them to be like, do a hit and run away. I don't know. Like, I feel like it kind of needs to be just like designed, unfortunately. Yeah, no. Scripts, enemy, state machine, states. It'll need to be like multiples. I'm gonna get a folder for all this. Ground enemy motion. Okay. Okay. So then we can paste that in and go. Just replace that here. Okay. So we need to figure out a position. We don't care about Y. So it just needs to be X, and it needs to be away from the player. So this can be called enemy.global target position equals. So this is like start from where you are. But realistically, what we're going to do with this guy in particular is we're just going to have him actually get. I mean, he can start from where he is and then go in a negative or a positive based on the direction. And I also want to change the move. So I just had a thought that we should pass in the direction. We can be more flexible, right? So we can pass in the direction and then we can use this like anywhere we want, as long as we're calculating the direction somehow. So like this bit here, what's it not happen? Section doesn't match the parent. Oh, okay. So should we motion? Dude, I got bitten by something on my arm. I don't know if it's going to show up in the... It's not very visible. Oh. Shit, sorry about that. Dude, it's so itchy. Australian summer. Welcome. Actually, it's technically spring. Okay. Right, where was I? I was saying I needed to add direction as a variable to this and just make it like, give it a default so we don't have to vector 2.0, so we can just like ignore having to fix that up for the flying enemies. Dude, my arm is so itchy. Anyway, better off writing a new function, really. I don't know. Either way, could not resolve ground enemy motion. When are you going to be happy? Move doesn't match the target because does this need to equal vector 2.0? Doge Coolweeb. Hello, welcome to the stream. You have a question? Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm all ears. You have the floor. I'm actually starting a game creator. An interactive fiction novel game? So is it like a visual novel creator or something like that? There's a tool out there, right? There's a Python one as well. Or is it like more directed than that? I don't know. What do you mean? A visual novel? You could say that I'm using Ren'Py. Oh yeah, Ren'Py. That's the one I was thinking of for interactive fiction today. Yes. Yeah, you're making a visual novel, right? I've never played one. I should try. I would like to try. You know, I'm a big fan of the anime Clanad. If I have someone doing the art. Yeah, for real. Dude, it's tough. I wish I'm really bad at art. That's why I haven't made a commercial game, because I just can't. I don't really want to like work with other people. No offense to other people. That's actually not them. That's me. I'm not nice to work with. So yeah, I just haven't really, because I'd have to do it myself or pay someone like subcontractly. But art school is level 4 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. Like, I mean, the easiest way to get around that is to work with other people, but like sometimes that can be really challenging as well. Like finding people who are reliable, who share your vision, and you have to be okay with sharing the revenue, of course, which is a whole other kettle of fish. So like, yeah, I totally get it. It's tough, man. I opened my wallet, a flag came out. Yeah. Oh, well, that's the other hard part. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was gonna pay somebody, I would only, so like I have a job, right? Like I'm streaming this. I have a YouTube channel. It does okay, but it doesn't, like I can't quit my job. It's a couple $100 a month, you know? I would want to use that money to like make a game, but like a couple $100 is only going to get you like a couple of assets, right? Like art's really expensive, and like, don't get me wrong, like people they deserve to be paid, right? If it's their entire job. But yeah, it ain't cheap. Even with a couple $100 a month, I don't think you could do it. I don't know. I actually, you know what? To be honest, I've never actually tried to pay someone, so I don't know if that's cheap. All I know is that thumbnails for YouTube videos are hella expensive. So if going off that, I don't think I could afford it. Art doesn't take too long to make drastic improvements if you lock in. You say that. You say that. Personally, my feeling is, as someone who has tried to do art, you either have it or you don't. And I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I actually started my game dev journey. Well, I restarted my game dev journey trying to learn how to do Blender, because I was like, I always really wanted to be a 3D artist. Turns out I'm just not that good. But you're right. Like, maybe if you did it every day, you would at least, even if it wasn't like that great, you'd have a style. I don't know. Just copy or just trace. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. To be honest, we're on a separate country, so our currency would be much different. But I know some fellow artists, I must say, they are a buck's worth. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was when I've paid for thumbnails. Only a couple times, because honestly it is very expensive. I was using someone from Brazil, and even then it was like 50 USD. Like, I'm from Australia, so that's like a lot of money. And it was okay at the time, because it's like, I actually had started making money from the YouTube. So it was like, I can use that YouTube money, because I don't want to pay tax anyway. And it was like, that's a lot of money. And it was, and don't get me wrong, like the click-through rate went up, but like the money that you make back from that is just not, it's like you're running at a loss already. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's complicated. Okay. We were doing something before we got sidetracked. But a visual novel... So is Godot coding and Ren'Py coding different? I would imagine so. Ren'Py uses Python, right? I've never used Ren'Py. I know what it is, but yeah, I mean, it's Python. It's not that, I know how to use Python. Like, I can code in Python, not like at a competent level. Like, I've used it at work to, like, I work mostly with spreadsheets. And I've used Python to combine massive sets of spreadsheets into one CSV file. So, you know, it's not too difficult. Python? RenPy is Python, right? Or am I crazy? Am I wrong? It's got Py in the name. Or is it entirely visual? Is that what... Gemini has been telling you that Godot and Python are similar? It's not entirely wrong. Used by thousands around the world that help use words, images, and sounds to tell interactive stories on computers. These can be both visual novels. The easy to learn script language, does it use its own script or does it just use Python? I actually don't know. I just assumed that it used Python. Yeah, this website. Documentation. The language basics. Well, we can start describe the RenPy language. Okay, so I guess it's its own language. Interesting. Must first describe the structure of a RenPy script. Our files are broken into blocks of lines and how this... Is it like simplified? Is made up of files found in the game directory, ending in RPy. The extension RenPy. So generally, there's no difference between a script and one big file. Transfer... By jumping or calling a label in another file, this makes the division of a script in files a matter of personal style. Huh. I had no idea. I thought it just used Python. Don't scroll down. One of those games is advertised as not safe for work. Okay. Oh well. We're a small operation here. We'll be all right. Okay. So RenPy is different from Python, I guess. What's the difference between Python, Pygame, and RenPy? Domain-specific language built on top of Python. Okay. I had no idea. Well, the more you know. But since I'm a developer of RenPy, I'd like to take a short answer. Also, Python with brackets. How could they do such a thing? Python with brackets is... I mean, I guess some people really like brackets, but obviously I'm a Godot developer, so we don't use brackets either. Define E. Okay, well now we know. Is it different from Godot? Yes, definitely. Godot is... Like, I don't know much about RenPy, but I can tell you that Godot is very script focused. So you will need to learn how to code in order to use Godot to its full potential. Even with a visual novel, there are some tools that will help you, like what are they called? Like Dialogic or Dialogue Manager. So those kinds of add-ons will help you create dialogue, and then it's just a matter of like getting the branching correctly, right? So there's probably not that much code that you need to, depending on what you're trying to make, it could be done. I'm sure it would be relatively straightforward to make a visual novel in Godot. I guarantee you it's been done before. It's a very versatile engine, but it's not dedicated. So like RenPy is obviously dedicated to that. That means it's going to be a lot more straightforward, especially in its scripting, I assume. Obviously, I don't know RenPy, but knowing that it's a dedicated engine for that, I can just already have a feeling that it's going to be easier to make a game like that. What you won't have is the flexibility. Like, I don't know, it probably doesn't do 3D. If you wanted to do 3D, you're probably out of SOL, if that's something you wanted. I don't know. Is Godot better? It just depends. If you're new, maybe just... and that's what you want to do. Like, I'm sure you can figure it out. It took me an hour long to even know how to make a character's name, coded as unknown. I put define character equals character name at the top. So even if I put that, it makes the name visible. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the other question. Like, if you're new, something that you really need to consider is, what are the resources for me to learn this thing, right? So like, I'm sure there's plenty of RenPy tutorials, because it's a well-known engine. versus like Godot, there's tons of resources now. You know, and you just got to follow all of those kind of like tutorials, especially if you don't know how to code. Like just go, it's going to take a lot longer, but like go follow a tutorial. They're outdated. Okay. Yeah. But how, I guess I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough, eh? Maybe there's a market there. Maybe I need to shift into Ren'Py tutorials. Nah. Anyway, what am I trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to update the evade. So we're doing an evade script. Right. So target position is the whole thing. We need to work out where to go, which is easy. So we've got target position equals enemy. So this is just going to say like target position is this, but actually what we're going to do is find like a distance away from the enemy. So from the target. So what we need to do is probably know where the see, this is like, okay, it's kind of confusing, right? So especially with the words I'm using. Enemy denotes the node that we're working on, right? So we're going to have two. We're going to have target position and enemy position. And one will be for the target, which is us, the player. And one will be the self position. So basically what we want to do is honestly, like, we want to go, you know what? We need to work out the direction. So the enemy position and the target position. What we need is the direction to target again. And it's a vector 2, and it's going to be equal to the enemy position dot direction to the target position, although I haven't updated that yet, right? So let's just put this below that, and just, because target means something different in this script than it does every other place. So we're gonna have to like just change the way that we're talking. So we've got enemy, which equals target, which we have if we're in this script. I'm still working on the prologue chapter of the story. I have loads of plans for this project. I'm a man with a dream as a concept creator. Yeah, it's tough. I totally understand where you're coming from, because it's like when you're new, it's like you have these ideas, but bringing them into the world is really difficult. Right. To be honest, 5 years on from my journey, it's still really hard, even though I know how to code. Like for me, you know, like in 2018, I've been making games since I was a teenager, right? Which is like going on 20 years now. But when I was a kid, I was always using like RPG Maker, because that has been around since I was a kid, right? So RPG Maker 2003, RPG Maker XP, all that kind of stuff. I did learn Game Maker, right? Game Maker, and then I sort of like, I got into senior of high school and sort of shifted my focus. I just wanted to like do school. And so like I went to university, got a business degree, did a CPA, like all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, hey, remember how you wanted to make games? I was like 25 and I started learning again. And that's when I was like, oh, I'll learn Blender because I want to do 3D art. Didn't really feel like it just wasn't me, you know? Like I'm just not artistically minded. I don't know how to describe it. And then I was like, well, why don't I just learn how to code? And I learned Unity. And then I found Godot later on. I found Godot in 2020 during COVID. And like, I haven't looked back since. And that's when it really clicked for me. And it's like, and it's been that journey. Like I've had these big ideas, and what you eventually realize, I think, to be honest, like if I'm being honest with you, like a visual novel is a very achievable goal. My goals were much loftier, and I sort of had to like pare them down eventually and just realize that like doing small games is basically like what I'm gonna do, because like making a big game is a lot. Although maybe I'll make one here. I don't know. What I do want to do is create enemies and make them fun to play against. That is what we're trying to learn here. The target.global position. We've got enemy position.target position, and the direction to target is enemy position, direction to target position. And basically we want to know what that direction is and go the opposite way. Although, makes me think of chase, right? In this function here, where we've got enemy direction to target goes towards. It was flipped before. So maybe we could go target direction to enemy, right? And it would go the other way. We can say target direction to enemy. And that's actually away from the target. So direction, opposite direction to target, direction away from target. I don't like this variable name. I've never really been good at naming variables. And so that is our direction. And what we want to do is choose a position. So what I would say is like our position, this is what we're going to feed in. So we're going to call this new position rather than target position. I downloaded RenPy? No. I'm not looking at RenPy right now. New position. So this will be here, and it's going to be equal to the direction away from target multiplied by the range. And realistically, we just want to do X, but like they should be on the same plane. The new position.X, direction away from target, multiplied by a range. What are we going to do? We could do like a random... We could do like a randf range between like 0. Not 0. We could call it data.range. So max data.range. And then, well, that's the maximum. What's the minimum? A quarter of it? Something like that. Not super serious. And then, there we go. If new position, move new position. Not move. Wait, we are calling that. We have a target. But that's not, is that even being used in this? It's not. We want to pass in the direction. That's what we set that up to do. So move, actually, vector 2.0 and direction. Okay, we have to change the oh my gosh, it's not happy. What's it pissed off about? Direction is not declared in the current scope. New position. Okay, and then in the chase, what we will do. I thought that was your screen, it was mine. RenPy pop up for a second. That's really funny, dude. Making big games can be very approachable if you only work on them when you have motivation. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And motivation comes and goes. Like so last year, I was really dead set on making a course. Like I wanted to make a course. Like I've been working on my YouTube channel for like 3 years, and it's like, okay, let's make a Udemy course and get that out there. And I spent like 12 months working on it, and it was like, there were moments I felt pretty motivated the entire way through. Will I cook still? Maybe. You have to choose your moments, but that's the thing, right? Like I really focused on that a lot, and then I finished that in April, and then nothing. What is it, like November? I made content still, but I hadn't worked on games. That's for sure. I hadn't been making games. And since April, it burnt me out, man. And that was just... moments is not on my good luck list. Nor timing. Yeah. I actually think it's almost the opposite. You need to like... just a lot amount of time just say like 1 hour every day. This is how I got through my masters. This was after university. I decided that the only way for me to get anything done is to like treat it kind of like you do this for an hour every day and it becomes a habit. And yeah, you're going to sit there sometimes and not want to do it, but just do a little bit. Here's the thing. Everyone's different when it comes to this. So like some people can just run off motivation. Some people run off deadlines, you know? And then there's other people that feel like inspiration sporadically. I'm one of those people. Sometimes I'll want to work on it for 5 hours at a time. But when I was working on, I made a tactics demo essentially, because I was toying with the idea of making a tactics game. Although I realized that's like a lot of work. But I made a tactics demo and I worked on that unironically like, 5 hours a day. I was dreaming about, I woke up one time at like 4 a.m. and I was like, I guess I'm going to go work on that, you know? And it's like, yeah, you do have those moments, but then you don't. And then sometimes it's just like, I don't want to do nothing. And that's why streaming, for me at least, is really good because it forces me to engage with this for an amount of time. So that's why I'm calling this Make Game Monday. It's Make Game Monday. I'm going to work on the game and I'm going to do it for like 2.5 to 3 hours. I'm going to log off in about 10 minutes because it's 10 p.m., you know, and I have work the next day. But you know, like I just need to like allot a time to just work and try to get stuff done. It's like, you know, you just learn over time. Like I'm old, right? I'm like 35 and I know how I work and I need to just like manipulate my schedule to work for this and just like set a time. And progress might be slow, but it's okay. It'll get done eventually. But like, I'm not making any kind of commitments to turning this into a full game. It's just test. I don't like to commit. Anyway, what the hell? Let's try to get this done before I log off. The new position. All right, so it's a different kind of feeling when you actually start dreaming about your game. I've had so many cool ideas that way. Yeah, it is a strange experience. Oh, well, I wasn't even like dreaming about story or nothing. I was like coding in my head, coding in my dreams. As an amateur developer, I'm relying on AI to do proper dialogue because sometimes my grammar ends up misspelling or missing letters. Google Gemini helps me. Ah, Fresh TV, welcome to the chat. Doge Cool Web. I mean, I think everyone needs to like have their own opinions on AI. Like I personally won't use it, not for this kind of stuff at least. But like if you do find it helps, like I guess it's a good start. I would caution sort of against using it too much because people will be able to tell and it will affect how people think about your game. So definitely if you are using it to help you, maybe definitely, what's the word for it? Proofread and use it and edit what it gives you. Okay, Fresh. My teacher once told me it's fine to use AI as long as you understand it. Some more 2D slop? Some more 2D slop. Yes. Okay, so you remember on Saturday we were failing. And now we are also still failing, but in a different kind of way. Because the flying enemies work fine. And also the 2D enemy here, this very detailed 2D enemy, it also works, kind of, not really. But these guys now attack and shoot and move around and everything works. Hooray. And I can kill them. Easy. And the 2D guy we're now working on moves very slowly in my opinion, but we're just trying to get the behaviors up and running. But I sort of had to, what I really wanted to do, this is something that I always fall into. I wanted to have a single script that does everything, and it's just not going to work that way because flying enemies and ground enemies are completely different in the way that they need to understand the world. So we've been rewriting that. We're almost there. But I need to change the way the chase works. So this move function we take a direction, we're calculating a direction. We don't really want to do that. We actually just want to go not direction to target, but actually just take direction. And then this whole thing, we move that to the chase function. So if target position, move, and then we're going to create a direction to target. This all should work, right? We don't need to check if target since we already got that. Direction to target, let's move this up a bit so we can actually read it. Not that button, this button. So we've got direction to target. Why is this yellow? Is declared but never used in the block. What? It's right there. Oh, well, I suppose I need to go target position, even though that's not even being used. Don't worry about it. You're not using agents for the enemies? I am for the flying ones. I'm not for the ground one because I just don't. I don't see there crashed. I don't see a need for it because like it just needs to move left or right based on the player. I guess the question is like when it sees a ledge, only setting the variable. Target position equals target global position. Global position of base type nil. Target equals null. We don't have a target? There's a function for that. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I'll need to clean it up. Check range. Update velocity. What's it called? Get player target position. Check for target. There we go. Basically, we want him to move back after he attacks. Is he going to? He just goes straight into idle. Well, it's progress. Even if it isn't what we want. Let's check this. I like it, Picasso. Oh my god. I need a sound drop. Yeah, it's very placeholder. Direction away from target. Direction away from target. Okay, no, but this is fine. We just go if new position is not equal to vector 2.0, then we need to move to new position. If navigation, okay, so this is a problem here. We don't need this. That might have been it because the navigation agent was not in use. Yeah, it works. It's just he moves really slow. Dude, he's going really far. Okay. I'm gonna go now. Thanks for the help. No worries, dude. Have a good one. Your Keck W doesn't work, but the other one does. I'm a perfectionist. Wait. I also do dream about code. If I'm really deep into game, often I'll get a breakthrough like that. Not sure how schizo that is. No, it happens to me. So like, I actually think that's totally fine and normal. You know? Right, so the new position was like really far. In fact, like, actually, there's nothing here to check that it's reached that position. That is funny. Maybe you need to add it. Heck W. I don't actually know. This is 7TV stuff, right? Dude, I don't know how it works. I don't know. I can make a little base. I don't know if it's like a Halloween thing. Anyway, the Keck W doesn't work. So how do I add stuff to Oh, you don't have personal emotes yet. Use custom emotes anytime with Twitch 7 TV subscription. Okay. I don't understand what that means. Hey, look, it's me. I have to look into it, I guess. I probably need to watch a tutorial. I'm such a boomer, guys. I'm such a boomer. I don't know how any of this works. I like added some emotes from my own personal collection. I haven't put them on YouTube yet, but I don't see many people using them, so it's okay. Oh no, this is going to be a big one.
Kek W, Kek W, Kek W, Kek W, Kek W, Kek W, Kek W.
That was almost like a bit of a beat
to it. Kek W, Bob.
Dude, it had like such a rhythm when it started. I was like, man, you could jam to that. Okay, so the problem with this one is that the direction that it reaches, we need to like know that we got to that, right? So in the state update, we can say like if enemy dot global position is equal to probably like is equal approx to new position, then we finish dot emit idle. I'd say that's probably the best way. Like I think we're gonna have mixed results with this. It'd probably just run away forever. Let's see. He's gone forever. Okay. Direction from target. Yeah, we're literally just like getting a direction. Oh yeah, we're actually totally cooked here. This is not gonna work. Well, actually it will. You know what I'm gonna do instead? We are going to new possession.x and range. Direction away from target. Yeah, this is like all this is all wrong. I'm gonna need to rethink this. But like at best, like if we're just like what we can do is just create a timer. Like evade time, target check update. How long do we want to run away for? Like 1 second, 2 seconds? Do we need this? Is this even in use? I don't think so. We can just go like we can even make it an export variable, to be honest. Export var evade time, and it's a float. What's the vision here? I honestly I don't know. I'm sort of just like winging it. I'm designing enemies. That's literally my goal, is to get good at making enemies. Why is this a vector 2? Evade time 2 seconds. So like that's literally my entire goal with this project, is to just make good enemies. Because something that I realized, that like a lot of combat focused games, like the only thing that matters is like your own like tech, like the player and what it can do, and the enemies and what they can do in that interaction. That entire thing is like that's the entire gameplay loop. Like I played Silksong. I don't care for the story. I just like jumping around and hitting enemies and they hit me. You know, it's like it's that dance that's fun, and I want to understand that and be able to make it. Evade time remaining. Okay. evade time remaining equals evade time. And then we're just going to go like evade time remaining minus equals delta. And then if evade time remaining, oh my god, can't type, is less than or equal to 0. What's the point of evading? It's just a movement that the character that the enemy does after an attack. So like essentially, and maybe I've got to like rethink the wording. So basically the pattern for the enemies I have at the moment is that they're either doing nothing, they're chasing the player, they're attacking, or they're moving away from the player or doing something in that pattern of attack. So like say for this particular character, what I want it to do is I want it to chase the character. Once it's in range, I want it to do an attack, and then I want it to do a movement away from the player. It doesn't have to be like a big movement, just like in 5 seconds, just give the player some space and then go back to attacking. Maybe it's not necessary, I don't know. It's just an idea. I probably need to like study some more like 2D Metroidvania movement and how they work. I mean, a lot of enemies in Silksong are just like, the enemy is just gonna run. It's just like running at your face. And if he hits you, you take damage. That's basic enemy design from Team Cherry. Anyway, what was I doing? Finished the mid-idle. Okay. Right. It doesn't really make sense because we have like a projectile weapon. It attacks, evades, goes idle, comes back, attacks, and that's the entire attack pattern. And it's probably a little bit too slow for what it is, but that's it. And especially when you can kill it in 3 shots, it honestly doesn't matter. But it's all about like building up an understanding of how to communicate that information to an enemy character. That's sort of where I'm at right now. Like it's so early on, it's just like, how do I even get these patterns to come about? So just like understanding how to put them together, what they feel like, and then hopefully from that you can expand and create something that is more engaging, because right now it's not engaging at all. Appreciate all the Zelda music in the background. Yep, this is Game Chops. They're like an open, they're not open source, but it's like it's a radio that you can use in your streams. They do require credit, so I should probably add that to the description of my live stream. Music by Game Chops. Just put that at the bottom of the description. Update. Okay. Okay. Cool, so we got a ground enemy. We met our goal. And that is that. And I'll leave it there for tonight. And when will we be back? I don't know. I'm sort of experimenting with streaming more, but see. We'll see. Maybe it'll just be once a week, twice a week. I think 3 times is probably what I used to do, right? I used to do Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Is that what I used to do? I don't remember. Before I disappeared. Is it on my Twitch? Dude, where's Twitch? Don't know. Anyway, should we raid? I think you need to simplify your code, you know, make more functions, but you name them properly. But make more functions, name them properly and informatively. It's fucking hard, especially when one is only prototyping. Yeah, dude, that's my biggest problem is like, how much do you actually construct something? Because like, I could do this without a state machine. I could do this without like all this inheritance. Before you came on, I turned like the movement and the range into data because I didn't do that and it was causing issues. And it's like all those kind of things that like, it's like, to what level do you go? I think a state machine is really helpful, but yeah, I don't know about the inheritance stuff. I think I'm dropping the ball on that because I want it to be like more universal, but at the same time, it's so hard because all the enemies are going to be doing different things. I guess you just got to feel it out. And as always, I'm really bad at naming variables. I am horrible at that. Oh man, same category? Oh, here we go. Uptime 9 minutes. Tinkering with IPC and Snack Studio.
Minutes for Mother.
Is this English?
Stuff being tight for Twitch. I've written a little script for Char.
Off you go. I don't even know if this is Godot. Alright. Have fun, guys. I'll talk to you later.